Today on Notsam Wrestling, was it a pivot? Was it not? Does it even matter? And how is Triple H involved? We look at the road to WrestleMania, The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Triple H, Seth Rollins, and try to figure it all out. This is Notsam Wrestling. I hope that everybody is enjoying this ride that we're on as much as I am. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember a time when it was funner to talk about this world of professional wrestling. Welcome to it, Notsam Wrestling, and so much to break down in one of the most eventful weeks of my entire life. I brought a life onto this planet. My wife gave birth to a beautiful child, and all the while, the road to WrestleMania took a turn, and Triple H said it himself. It's gone up in flames. We in the best way possible. He said, but isn't it fun? And it is fun. We'll talk about all of it. I got to be a part of Dave LaGreca's big live show with most of the Busted Open crew on stage at the Gramercy Theater. So much going on. And, of course, that emergency pod that we dropped, chronicling everything that went down at the WrestleMania kickoff event. Regardless to say, I appreciate all the wonderful words and well wishes that I got from so very, very, very many of you over the last few days. It's really it fills my heart with absolute joy. But we got to talk about the reason that an emergency podcast simply had to be done on Thursday night, late night Thursday night, which was what we all knew it would be, or hoped it would be at least, the WrestleMania kickoff press event. And I think that that's key here, right? That's why letting them cook is something that I've been such an advocate for. Because it's not necessarily saying we should be silent about stuff. It's not necessarily saying we shouldn't go to arenas and voice what we think. It's not even necessarily saying, don't worry, there's always a plan. What it is saying is, based on what has happened thus far in the current creative regime, it feels like, at least right now, they don't want to let us down long term. They don't want to let us down. And there was such wild speculation, such expectations going into this thing, that it was hard to imagine that it wouldn't pay off, and it did. It paid off absolutely massive, because what we ended up getting was something that, while it left people with a lot of questions, it gave us all something great to talk about. So I feel like it started. We're in this realm of everything counts. It started, I would say, media day. The Rock popped in on Pat McAfee's show. You know, this is why this event was happening in Las Vegas to begin with. Every media outlet in the world is in town for the Super Bowl. So why not grab an arena right quick and set up a pre-show panel table with the most star-studded pre-show that anybody has ever seen. Michael Cole, the GOAT of WWE broadcasting. CM Punk, the biggest return in years to the WWE. Pat McAfee, the name that is on the lips of every media reporter and commenter across this great land of ours. And Big E, one of the most beloved WWE champions in recent memory, are there to break down this thing. And already, you're like, if this is the crew that's breaking this down, I can't imagine what's in store for us. And we get there, and we get to see Rhea Ripley, and we get to see Becky Lynch, we get to see Bianca Belair, Seth Rollins. And when we see Seth Rollins, that's when it starts to get interesting. Because Roman Reigns comes out, and then, well, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Earlier in the day, and we knew, okay, this has got to play into it. This can't just be an interview. The Rock is on Pat McAfee's show. And Pat McAfee's show, it's on ESPN. It's televised in every spot that's got ESPN, which is all the spots, as well as on YouTube. And The Rock, on live internet and television, starts explaining, well, what I dealt with this week was the difference between Cody fans and the Cody Crybabies. And we started to get, I felt like, 1998 Rock. We started to get the Rock that pretended to be Billy Gunn in that promo. We started to get the Rock that had disdain for the fans a little bit when he first became the Rock, when he first joined the nation. The Rock that was making faces while Farouk was acting as if he was the leader of the Nation of Domination. Even going forward, a bit of Hollywood Rock. The Rock that came back and resented the fact that WWE fans didn't respect him as much because he had chosen to take some time away to do films. And he was one of the first to do it before it became kind of a regular thing. Not that it's regular, it's always extraordinary, but you know what I mean? It's more accepted now anyway. And he explains the Cody Crybabies. And the Cody Crybabies are the grown men who, when their wives ask if they're ready to be physically intimate, they say, no, I have to send this tweet. The one that really got me, when their children say, hey, Dad, you want to go play catch? No, I have to tweet this about Cody Rhodes. And it's like, oh. He stayed quiet and just decided to come out swinging. And so that's the energy that we have going in to this press conference. And if you watch the press conference, when The Rock did come out, what was interesting and maybe telling about what would have or still could happen at WrestleMania in Philadelphia is, if you look at the internet, it will tell you that clearly The Rock is going to get booed out of the building. Clearly The Rock is going to get booed out of Philly. They won't have him there. But when The Rock's in the building, the energy's different. Even when they're kind of ready to boo him, like in Las Vegas, the whole building was not necessarily there to boo him. The whole internet was not Twitter. The whole internet was not, the whole building was not Twitter. The whole building was not internet commenters. A lot of people in the building were like, whoa, there he is. This is exciting. Same thing that happened, when he went on SmackDown. The arena, they loved the face-off between Roman Reigns and The Rock. It wasn't until those of us behind the glass screen could really start to think about what was going on and how, well, this doesn't make sense. Why'd Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble then? So Roman Reigns comes out now at the press conference where we were. And Roman and Seth go back and forth a little bit because, Roman has had his comments about Seth Rollins, and they go back and forth. Seth says, oh, good of you to show up for work. Roman says, well, you showed up for work in your wife's shoes. You never want to be a pro wrestler in ladies' shoes. It's just not a thing. It's not, you better have something to back it up. And Seth Rollins is the architect. He's got things to back it up. But it's tough. And so they go forward, and Roman Reigns says that Cody Rhodes, he forgot his moment. He let it slip. And so now Roman gets to pick his opponent at WrestleMania. And Seth, which again, everything counts, is the voice of fans, the voice of people watching the show, going, that's not how that works. You can't just do that. That's not how that works. Because most of us at home were going, what are you talking about? Like, if you lose the year before at WrestleMania, or if you aren't sure 6 days after the Royal Rumble, then you can't choose. You don't get to choose anymore. The other guy gets to choose. But Roman says, I choose The Rock. And The Rock comes out. And at first, there's like minor tension with Roman Reigns and The Rock. But then The Rock, the more he started going, the more I felt like he was leaning in to what he now knows is the perception of what he did on SmackDown. And there were a couple of moments to me. I thought when he thanked the press twice for being there. First, I want to thank members of the press for being here. When The Rock does that, after a week of people being like, oh, this is a Hollywood guy, this is an executive, this is a board member, this is an ego guy, this is a guy who's not here for the right reasons. When he's out there thanking the press before he thanks the WWE Universe, you're watching at home going, oh, the internet was right about him. He's not there for the fans. He's there for the headlines. And then when he's presenting the family tree of the bloodline, which maybe I'm in the minority, I actually thought it was cool. But when it's not that he said, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, you're going to have to respect it. And if you don't respect it, to use a line from The Rock, it doesn't matter what you think. That wasn't it. to me when he goes, I'm going to show you something, and it's pretty cool, and I think you're going to like it. Can you imagine the ego of a person saying, I made a graphic of my family tree. It's so cool. I think you're going to like it. Look at my family tree. Isn't this awesome? Everybody that's not in your family is like, no, that's not cool. Why? You woke up this morning thinking, oh, I'm going to give everybody a reward and show them my family tree. You know how egotistical that is? Which I go, okay, I like where we're going. I like this. And as The Rock, and I thought this was key, as The Rock is showing off his family tree, Roman Reigns is also taking great pride in the family tree. And that's where I start to get this inkling where, oh, the reason Roman, and we're talking stories here, the reason Roman picked The Rock at WrestleMania, and the reason why The Rock is asking about the head of the table and staring down, Roman Reigns, is not because there's this rivalry. It's not because there's this thing between the two of them where they both want to be the boss. It's they both believe that there could be nothing bigger than the two of them main eventing WrestleMania because their family is so important. And whether it's true that there is no bigger match or not, the fact that they so firmly believe that there is no bigger match, both of them, and the fact that they so firmly believe that the reason there is no bigger match is because their family is by far the most important in wrestling. Now we're telling a different story. Now we're going someplace where, even though they were fighting, The Rock and Roman are on the same side. They're on the same ultimate team. And then he says it. He goes, and by the way, while he's showing all of the family tree and everything, Seth is just like rolling his eyes and looking exhausted. And it was great. And then he says, you got to look at this. And anybody would clearly see that this is the only one powerful, dominant royal family in professional wrestling. The line at the beginning of Cody Rhodes' music. And Cody comes out and they do the thing. Cody chooses Roman Reigns. And then The Rock gets pissed at Cody because Cody is talking smack about the familial relationship that Roman has with his fellow Samoans. And The Rock is now mad at Cody because Cody disrespected his family's name. The way I felt about it was I got the same energy from The Rock that I get from Roman Reigns. If you want to upset Roman Reigns, you mess up his plan. You screw up the plan that he had laid out. I don't think The Rock was mad at Cody because of the family names. I think The Rock was mad at Cody because Cody screwed up The Rock and Roman Reigns' plan to put on what they felt would be the most important WrestleMania of all time because they were front and center of it. And he's even more upset that there are so many fans that disagree with The Rock, that believe that Cody and Roman is the most important match to have in the WWE at WrestleMania 40 right now. So then, as if it wasn't good enough, Jackie Redmond is in the back doing the interview with Triple H, and The Rock passes by Triple H, and he goes, that was BS. Fix this. Fix it now. Fix it. And he's like talking down to Triple H, who we have all accepted by now is the dude. Okay? So then we get to Friday. And Friday, the fact that bow down to the king was ringing through. And I was like, yeah. And he's being introduced now as Paul Triple H Levesque. Now, Michael Cole, whenever he's hosted a press conference, has called him Paul Triple H Levesque. In a corporate environment or in a media environment, when it's not a storyline necessarily environment, he's Paul Triple H Levesque. However, now his lower third says that as he walks out on SmackDown. Please welcome. Maybe they've done this before, but I think the fact that they're doing it now is very much in line with the idea that this executive, Paul Triple H Levesque, being the chief content officer of the WWE, the guy who's in charge of all the creative, the guy who's in charge of the show that we see in front of us, that's now part of the story. Triple H, in his role in the company, being the top dog, is now a part of the story because The Rock, being on the board of TKO, is now a part of the story. Was it always meant to be a part of the story? Or did we make it a part of the story? Did the fans make it a part of the story? And the WWE just said, hey, man, they are aware of what's going on. We can't pretend that this thing that they're seeing is not happening. We've got to at least acknowledge it within the story if we want them to go on this road with us. Because if we're not acknowledging it, now we're running the risk of insulting intelligence. Maybe. I don't know. That's the question, everybody. Was it a pivot? Was it always the plan? We're never going to know. We'll never know. Why? Because the winners write history. But that's okay. Because either way, whether it's a pivot and they're figuring it out as they go, if that's the case, and this is what they've come up with, there's never been a better team thinking on their feet ever. And if they thought this all along, we're telling next level stories here. Either way, what's the result? Do the ends justify the means? The means are what the means will be. And every time we get to a place where the means reveal themselves, or the ends reveal themselves, all of a sudden the means become justified. And that's what we had at the WrestleMania press event. That's what we had with this Triple H promo, because that's when he said it. Triple H goes, we took a hard left on the road to WrestleMania, and now? Well, now that road is on fire. But it feels pretty good. I couldn't have put it better myself, Triple H. It feels really good. He said, some people don't know their role, and everybody went, ooh, I remember. I saw that confrontation. I saw the confrontation. And then, like, this is, okay, so he had a couple of things. Then he said the match at WrestleMania is Cody versus Roman Reigns. And if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. And you go, oh, I know that he is talking directly to The Rock. But what I really liked, the part of the promo that I really liked, is when Triple H said, it doesn't matter where you sit. I'm the guy that runs the show. That was the quote. It doesn't matter where you sit. What was he saying? He's saying a lot in that one phrase. Because was he saying it doesn't matter where you sit in the sense that Roman Reigns, you don't make the rules. Even if you sit at the head of the table, I'm the guy and you don't make the rules. Or are we playing chess here? Are we going a step further and saying it doesn't matter where you sit? Roman Reigns sits at the head of the table. And that's a storyline that we've all fallen in love with. At least I have. The Rock sits on the board of directors. It doesn't matter where you sit. I run the show. The Rock's not going to be able to come in here and use his power as a board member and as one of, if not the most famous people to ever come out of the WWE. He's not going to be able to use that power and manipulate things to get what he wants here, is what we were getting from Triple H. And, of course, later on SmackDown, Triple H is talking to Braun Breaker. Again, building Braun Breaker as this big signing, which I love. I love that we don't just push him on TV and go, hey, there's Braun Breaker. Now he's beating people up. No. He had a great showing in the Rumble. They're letting him do his thing in NXT. Maybe he's going to become the NXT Tag Champs with Baron Corbin. We'll see. But they have him on SmackDown. They have him on Raw. He's back on SmackDown. Now he's meeting with Triple H. That's what a big deal this signing is. He's actually meeting with Triple H. And when he meets with Triple H, that's when Paul Heyman comes in. There's that exchange between Heyman and Braun Breaker. Very interesting. Everything counts. And then Paul Heyman lets Triple H know he's going to leave him alone. But next week, he's going to talk to him with Roman Reigns. Oh, and The Rock. So we're getting The Rock and Roman Reigns on SmackDown next week to talk to Triple H about everything that Triple H has been doing. So what we've got is a situation where it's Cody versus Roman Reigns for all intents and purposes. And, of course, Cody will have his response to all of this on Monday Night Raw. Again, is this a master plan? Is this something that's happening right in front of our faces as we go? It doesn't matter because it's awesome. That's the key. is that it's awesome and that we're all talking about it and that the results are freaking cool. And now there is this thing. There is this backlash, right? Because The Rock and Roman Reigns is undeniably one of the biggest matches in WWE history. It'd be, if you're a wrestling fan and you don't want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and I know you're probably out there, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Because to me, The Rock versus Roman Reigns is the quintessential top benchmark contest, not only for the big picture, in the sense that you've got The Rock and Roman Reigns, not only for the fact that we've got this family tree, and this family tree, the Samoan dynasty family tree, really did start with a blood oath between Roman Reigns' grandfather and The Rock's grandfather, High Chief Peter Maivia. That's when the Maivia and Anoa'i families joined. And now we've got their grandchildren, top of the industry, ready to compete. On a third level, the storyline that has been at the tippity top of the WWE for the last 3 years, the Bloodline story. What could be a better climax or just new peak that as we're going to new peaks than Roman Reigns versus The Rock? There ain't none. Unfortunately, things changed when Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble and pointed at Roman Reigns. That's the difference. If it had been announced that it was going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, there would always be Cody Crybabies. It would always happen. There would always be people upset about it, but not to this degree. Not to this number. If Cody Rhodes had been eliminated by Gunther, at number 26 or 27 in the Rumble, and we would have just gone off and told another story because Gunther ruined Cody Rhodes' plans, we're not that upset in numbers about Roman and Rock. It was Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble, pointing at Roman Reigns. That was what the difference maker was. And that's when it came in where it's like, not only did I want to see Cody, but storyline-wise, I'm invested now. I was invested in that match on that pay-per-view. And I think that's where the disconnect came in. So the question is, what's left for The Rock? I think there is a long play here. Look, I think we have to remember that this is not The Rock who used to be a wrestler that's now in the movies and he's got a 2-month break, so he's going to come and do WrestleMania. That's not The Rock we're dealing with. The Rock that we're dealing with is a legit member of the board of TKO. I would believe, especially because the WWE is as hot as it's been in 20 years. I've watched religiously. It has been 20 years, inarguably, since the WWE was this hot, and we could start to have conversations and use different metrics to determine how far beyond 20 years it's been since the WWE was this hot, but decades nonetheless. So the fact that The Rock is fully involved in the product from a corporate standpoint, and it's as hot as it's ever been, at least recent memory-wise, I would say The Rock is not here for one trip to WrestleMania and done. I would say The Rock is here with a larger plan. If it's me, I have The Rock and Roman Reigns as a match that happens later. I either have that match happen at SummerSlam or I have that match happen next year at WrestleMania. And I have that match be the catalyst to turn Roman Reigns babyface. I have The Rock and his pride in this family be the new head of the table to an extent. Solo Sikoa as the head of the table, Solo is not going to be able to verbally do what Roman Reigns can do. Solo is not going to be able to use his words to tell the stories that Roman tells, at least not yet. And I think the idea of Cody wanted to take everything from Roman. So what if Cody takes the title from Roman and that in turn leads to the disappointment of The Rock, who casts off Roman Reigns, and in doing so fulfills the promise that Cody Rhodes made? Does The Rock need to have a match this year at WrestleMania? I think that is the bigger play for Rock versus Roman Reigns, that there is still time to do Rock and Roman within this calendar year. We've got multiple giant shows this calendar year. And if not this calendar year, we got a couple months before we get to WrestleMania 41. And we don't even know what town WrestleMania 41 is going to be in yet. So that's where I think, but who knows? I mean, who knows where this thing will go? It's fun. And also, I don't think if there is a turn, whether it's Solo turning on Roman or Rock turning on Roman because he loses the title, I think that turn should happen on television after WrestleMania. Because WrestleMania should go off the air if Cody Rhodes is going to win triumphantly for Cody Rhodes. The story should be about Cody Rhodes winning, not what happens to Roman Reigns after he loses, if that makes sense. The other person that we've got to talk about is Seth Rollins. What about Seth Rollins? Because here's the thing. Seth has been a part of this story, but kind of on the fringe of it. Seth was used as a potential direction for Cody to go in. So Seth tried to get Cody to have a match with him at WrestleMania. He said, this is the match I need. Apparently, he's not getting it. Seth was a part of that press conference. And while he was on stage as the champion, all the attention was on Cody, Rock, and Roman. But the fact is that tension has been built between Roman, the Bloodline, and Seth Rollins. And that's tension that has been there for a very long time because of their background in the Shield and because because Roman's never beaten Seth straight up. So that tension has always been there, but it's been cashed in on. Roman buried Seth in that promo, a week ago when The Rock came out. So where's the payoff there? As we're watching, I mean, I feel like there is such a desire to see The Rock and Triple H. Like you talk about tension. The Rock and Triple H is a rivalry that dates back as far as the Attitude Era. The Rock and Triple H are those guys that were on that road to the top of the card status. Triple H had worked longer for it, but The Rock got there faster. That rivalry exists. And then going forward and forward and forward, all the way till we are up to the point where Triple H is the guy in charge, but The Rock as a board member is still trying to put his thumb on it. It's such a good story that you wish it could get settled in the ring. It's obviously not going to get settled in the ring, but then the question is, who is the guy who steps in for Triple H? And for me, I kind of feel like if you want to elevate Seth and you want to take advantage of the pieces of the puzzle that are in place, I kind of feel like Seth Rollins versus The Rock is a match you should be doing at WrestleMania. You don't have to. You'll be fine if you don't. There are plenty of opponents for Seth Rollins, but just based on the fact that he was a part of this now, it is there. And maybe, before Rock had his first return match at WrestleMania 28, he did the tag match at Survivor Series. Maybe the way we pay that off is to have the Rock and Roman Reigns face Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins at some point, be it Elimination Chamber or otherwise, before WrestleMania. And that'll get paid off then, and then we move on to whatever Seth's going to do at WrestleMania. I'm perfectly fine with that as well. Because it would appear that we're not getting Rock and Seth, even though he's involved with that, because we've got the Elimination Chamber that was announced as being for an opportunity at the World Heavyweight title. Now, this Elimination Chamber is, full of stories. Because to an extent, Drew McIntyre is also involved in this Roman Reigns thing. And this is something that I really love about what goes on in WWE today. That there's no brick walls between these stories. People aren't isolated to only doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's it. Instead, we've got this thing where, yeah, Drew's got a problem with this guy, but he's also got a problem with that guy. Drew McIntyre has a problem with Jey Uso, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns all right now. And that's the way it should be, man. That's the way you should feel on TV. It's just a matter of one. And that's why when a guy like CM Punk goes down and we can't do WrestleMania, we can still put on one of, if not the best WrestleMania that's ever happened. Because we've got so much going on all at the same time. So Drew McIntyre, who right now in the men's Elimination Chamber match, we got Drew McIntyre in. We have Randy Orton in. We've also got the potential of Bronson Reed, Bobby Lashley, Ivar, LA Knight, Dirty Dom, KO, and The Miz. Drew McIntyre wants a piece of Seth Rollins badly. He was trying to convince Cody Rhodes to face Roman Reigns and making it seem like he was doing it because that's what should happen. But in reality, he was clearly doing it because he wanted to free up Seth Rollins' dance card and go to WrestleMania himself. You've got, I mean, his promo on Raw. We know the finish. Roman's family interferes. It's happened a million times before. Drew is one of the best characters on television right now. It is so good. And it goes back to what I said about Seth Rollins a minute ago. It goes back to what I said about Bayley last week. When you have a character and or a story that highlights things that the fans are seeing that are not always acknowledged on television, it is so rewarding as a viewer because it makes it feel like you're not wasting your time by paying attention. It's awesome. So you got Drew, who's involved in all these people, right? You got LA Knight, who wants to get in there, but at the same time, he's still got beef with AJ Styles, who lost to Drew McIntyre. But oh my God, LA Knight just pretending to knock his water bottle over and letting it pour on AJ Styles' head. One of the best, it was probably the best use of a water bottle maybe that I've ever seen in WWE. Just the casual nature of it. Because you've seen people throw water, you've seen people, toss, spit. But I don't know if I've ever seen a water bottle get knocked over and just let it pour on somebody's face. So disrespectful. But then where are we going with that, Are we getting LA Knight and AJ Styles? There are two things that can happen, right? Who's LA Knight wrestling? I think LA Knight, although I don't know if we even know yet. We know that Logan Paul, I don't know if Logan Paul was on my list. Logan Paul is facing The Miz next week on SmackDown. Which again, Logan Paul's got his own story. Logan Paul's promo on SmackDown was awesome. The locker room promo, it was really good. And not only did it get Logan Paul's character over, but it made clear why would we even believe that Logan Paul is going to win this match? Why would we even think that Logan Paul is going to win the Elimination Chamber? It was one little thing. When he said, I'll have my WrestleMania rematch with Seth Rollins. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Logan Paul faced Seth Rollins last year. He lost to Seth Rollins because KSI was in that big prime bottle. But now Logan Paul's the United States champion. Now Logan Paul's gotten even better. Now Logan Paul has this vision of being the ultimate spoiler, the world heavyweight champion with 2 titles. Could Seth Rollins have another Logan Paul match at WrestleMania? Yeah, I could see it now. There's a story there. Check, another story. If LA Knight, I think I read somewhere that he was getting, it depends on who he's getting paired up with. I don't even want to say who I read he's getting paired up with because there may be no veracity to it. So there's not even any reason to talk about it. You would think that LA Knight's going to go into the chamber. He's such a big star, right? Unless he's not going to go into the chamber because he's going to wrestle. At some point, he's got to wrestle AJ Styles. So if he's not going into the chamber, Australia would be a great place for LA Knight to wrestle AJ Styles. But if he is going into the chamber, we may be taking this all the way to WrestleMania and doing LA Knight versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And if we're doing LA Knight versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, then maybe we're not doing Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Maybe we're doing Logan Paul versus somebody else, and then maybe we get to Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins. But if LA Knight does make it into the chamber, then he loses the chamber, right? But if he doesn't make it into the chamber, then we do LA Knight versus AJ Styles at Elimination Chamber. And if he beats AJ Styles, well, then he's got a clear path to the United States Championship. You got Sami Zayn, who's over there, and now we've got him on 2 shows explaining how badly he wants to win the title and how he just can't win the championship. What's he going to do? And he still can't win the championship. That's another story in this thing. Bobby Lashley, who's been waiting to prove what he can do. Even The Miz and Logan Paul, they're bringing it back to Logan Paul's debut in the WWE. You've got history with The Miz. There's story here. All of it, there is story here, even in places where you wouldn't think there'd be story. And the women have hella story too. Let's talk about the women's, I mean, we can talk about either women's championship, but the women are taken care of, man. We had Rhea and Becky Lynch facing off at that press conference, but at the same time, if you watch The Bump, I hosted The Bump on Wednesday, which is the funnest thing in the freaking world. But if you watch The Bump, I asked Liv Morgan on the show, in person, in the studio, what are your goals for WrestleMania other than revenge? She said, none, just revenge. You saw that promo she cut on Raw? It was sick with the big wide eyes. Liv Morgan is making it clear that she's on one path, and it's to Rhea Ripley only. It's all she cares about. But then Becky Lynch is supposed to face Rhea Ripley. And Bianca Belair is in that chamber match. You mean to tell me Bianca Belair is not going to be in the main event of WrestleMania? There's all this stuff going on. You had Becky Lynch defeating Shayna Baszler, which was great on Raw. You had Bianca defeating Mi Chin. Liv Morgan is facing Zoe Stark. Now, maybe Zoe Stark's going to beat Liv Morgan, so she won't be in the chamber, so she's got to fight even harder to find a way to get Rhea Ripley, but I don't see Liv Morgan losing anytime soon. I don't see Liv Morgan losing to Zoe Stark. I see Liv Morgan going into that chamber and tearing people up. You can't call it, though. And then you got, on the other side of things, another storyline, which I was talking about last week, which is giving us that reward of not insulting our intelligence, which is Bayley and Io Sky. Now, I love this. I love we're questioning if she should trust Dakota Kai. We don't have an answer yet. But the thing that I really enjoy about this whole thing is I'm watching Bayley and I'm watching Damage Control in there. And I'm sitting there going, this is spectacular. Because what's happened is, because I'm asking myself, how was Bayley able to turn on Damage Control, but she's the babyface? And then I realized we're at this point in storytelling, and it is elevated storytelling. And people may tease me for saying it is elevated storytelling because we've gotten to the point where you don't need to turn to actually turn. There were so long when you would build a turn over the course of weeks, and you'd have to be blind not to see it coming, especially once you saw one. For me, growing up, I saw the tension between Shawn and Marty. Week after week, they just weren't these tag team experts, tag team specialists. For some reason, we're not on the same page anymore. And you watch this build and build and build, and then it exploded. But then the next time they did that, you saw it coming. The next time they did that, you saw it coming to the point where it started to get to, if you saw it coming, you'd go, yeah, I mean, weeks out, you'd go, well, I don't have any plans for that tag team. They're going to split up. You'd know they were going to split up. Now, you see the writing on the wall. You see them putting this together. You see these tag team members clearly on a path to not take Bayley seriously and potentially turn heel on Bayley. Bayley sees it too. Bayley grew up watching wrestling just like we did. Bayley's not blind to the things that are on television that she's a part of. And she's able to say, yeah, no, we all saw what you were doing, dude. What do you mean? I'm not turning on you. You already turned on me. Everybody saw it. And that's why the minute that she fights them, everybody starts cheering for her. Because not only do we get to see good guy Bayley again, but we're rewarded for watching. It's the way it should be. And then, who would have thought this? Speaking of Elimination Chamber, I'm at this point where I want to see Jey Uso beat Gunther. All these questions about who's going to beat Gunther. At one point, I even said, let Roman hold the title all the way until the end of August. Let Gunther hold his title all the way until the end of August and do Gunther versus Roman Reigns, title for title, at Bash in Berlin. And I'm still not against that, but I'll be damned if I don't want Jey Uso to go to Perth, Australia, and to get that moment. I want Jey Uso to walk into Elimination Chamber and be the guy to do the impossible, and that's beat Gunther. You look at what Jey Uso has been doing, and Jey Uso has probably lost more matches than he's won. He hasn't won a ton of his singles matches, but he's perceived as a main event guy. Audiences love him. Fans love him. Kids love him. Main event Jey Uso has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're just waiting on that moment to cement it, to seal the deal. And in front of however many tens of thousands in Perth, Australia, being the guy to put Gunther on his back, that'll do it. That'll make you. And not only that, then you get to have Jey Uso bringing the Intercontinental Championship into WrestleMania, potentially in a match against Jimmy Uso, only raising the stakes. I want Jey Uso to beat Gunther. I didn't think it was going to happen. I want Jey Uso to beat Gunther. We'll see. We'll see. I guess you've also got Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. You've got British Strong Style. How about that? Old Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate coming back strong, beating DIY on SmackDown. That's going to be the tag team match. It's going to be great. Tag team championship match against the Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate is going to low-key tear the house down. And I know you probably thought you can't tear the house down in a low-key way. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And they will. It's going to be awesome. Over on the AEW side of things, business is picking up. You had Sting and Darby Allin win the tag team championship, which I actually think was the right call. Because going into Revolution, I would imagine they're facing the Young Bucks. I don't think that that's been announced as official, or maybe it has. I don't know. But I would imagine the new Young Bucks are going to take on Sting and Darby Allin. And I like the idea of, well, you'd think clearly Sting and Darby Allin are going to win. But is Sting going to retire as a tag team champion? And maybe that's part of it, you know, as you know, with the characters the Bucks are playing now, it's like they can go forward and say, well, as whatever, executives of this company, it's our responsibility to do what's right for the company. And what's right for the company is not having a 60-year-old man retire with one of our titles. We're going to have to make sure that those titles stay in play. And we're going to have to take them from you at Revolution. And so now, and so they're, you know, motivated from both a wrestler level and a corporate level. But realistically, we are saying like, oh, no, I wonder if Sting's going to lose this match. You want that going in. You've also got Samoa Joe versus Swerve versus Hangman. And I think that's interesting because I think a lot of people just want Swerve versus Joe. But I think a lot of people want Swerve to win the title. And it's tough because I would not advocate Samoa Joe losing that title. Samoa Joe as a world champion is awesome for anybody. But I like the idea, if you're going to have Swerve and Hangman stick around AEW for the long term, the idea that Hangman can never beat Swerve is pretty damn compelling. No matter how good Hangman is, he can never beat Swerve. And that is something I think that can carry over years. When Swerve was on the show, he was talking about how the battle that they had, you know, the death match that they had where Hangman drank his blood, it was done storyline-wise so that they'd be linked forever. And what better way to link them forever? I don't like trading victories. I like the idea of this is the one. So eventually, could be years from now, Hangman finally gets that victory, and you've really told a story with some depth there. But you can get two things done here. You can continue on that story of Hangman can't beat Swerve, and you could put the title on Swerve without Joe losing. I would seriously consider having Swerve pin Hangman in that triple threat and putting the title on him. Because then you can also go to a Swerve Joe match at another pay-per-view down the road. You've still got that in the chamber. This time Joe wants his title back. And you can continue on with the Hangman story. And then, of course, the big announcement from AEW was big business. Big business in Boston. All signs point to the potential of Merceds Mone signing with AEW. And who knows if that's true or not, but if it's not, they literally wrote Boston with 2 S's and dollar signs in the S's. I think that what's going to be key for that is the story that she's telling. It's not going to be enough to just announce that she's there. It's not, I mean, there's very few people, and that's not a shot at her. There's very few people. CM Punk might be the only one that at least at first, it's enough that she's there. WWE is just putting out fire with these stories right now. WWE has just compelling stories leaking out of the seams of its very fabric. This is what AEW needs. I think that it's great if she's going there. I think that's a good thing for that company. I think that they need to really put the pedal to the metal on telling something compelling with her beyond, hey, I'm back on TV and it's for another company. That's not going to be enough, in my opinion. We'll see how it works out, but I'm interested in your opinion too. I'm interested very much in your opinion. That's why we do these emails. If you want to email the show, it's notsamwrestling@gmail.com, notsamwrestling@gmail.com. Another week with an absolute ton of emails, so we'll get to as many as we can, and I always appreciate them. Don't forget, by the way, WrestleMania weekend, Wednesday. Let's start the weekend on Wednesday, baby. 8 p.m. at the Helium Comedy Club. You can go to notsam.com, click the tickets link to get tickets. I'm doing a live Not Sam Wrestling podcast. I'd love to see all of you out there. If you're coming to Philly for WrestleMania, get the travel done so you can get there on Wednesday. You will not regret it. My live podcasts are a movie. The last one, are you kidding me? Go to YouTube. Watch the Rhea Ripley interview. Everyone else has. Be there for yourself. These are such fun nights, and I'd love to see as many of you as possible out there. Go to notsam.com, click the tickets link, and join us at the Helium Comedy Club Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Start your WrestleMania weekend with me in Philadelphia. Now let's get to Zach in Adelaide, Australia. You don't need to tell me where Adelaide is. My parents lived in Adelaide. I've been to Adelaide. Thank you for your constant reminders around the world to let Triple H cook. Let him cook, guys. Would you just let him cook? Just let him cook. We've now got Cody, Rock, Roman story that's even bigger than what it was. This is 100% true. I have a question and a speculatory booking for you. I never mind wild speculation, as long as you watch the product. My question, and realize everything counts. My question is, do you think in the future WWE will deliberately throw spanners in the Royal Rumble winners' storylines to keep things interesting? Spanners must be Australian. It must be like a shrimp on the Barbie. I know you're probably thinking spanners is a crazy way to describe anything, but this is a country where they literally put Vegemite on bread and think that it tastes good. It's crazy. Have you ever tasted Vegemite? Disgusting. Disgusting, and I'd love to have Steph DeLander in here to explain to me how it's not disgusting. I love Australia. I love the Australian people. I don't know what you guys are doing at snack time. January to April is a long time to book one storyline, and we know that Mania is going to speculate either way. Look, I'm with you. And then, okay, here's the thing. You can't mess with the Royal Rumble booking too much. The same way you can't mess with the Money in the Bank booking too much. Because part of the allure of the Royal Rumble is that the winner goes to WrestleMania. So if it becomes the winner goes to WrestleMania, maybe, then the Royal Rumble loses that luster. Same way with the Money in the Bank. If it's like the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match gets the Money in the Bank contract, and, 50-50, they might win the title. That's not nearly as exciting as you're pretty much guaranteed to win the belt. That's exciting. This is the fantasy booking from Adelaide. For the road ahead of seeing Cody, Rock, and Roman returning to SmackDown this week. Okay. Ooh, kicked something. I'd have a segment with Cody and Seth this Monday. Yeah, with Cody thanking Seth for Seth having his back and Seth saying, I get it, and I have your back moving forward. Okay, Drew attacks Seth. Okay, and I'm assuming Cody has his back, I hope. He just said he had his back. At SmackDown, Rock and Roman confront Triple H. Rock flexes the board member power. I'm with that. They say they're going to hurt Cody so he can't make it to Mania. I don't know if you need to injure the guy. I think it should be about them using their power, not just injuring. setting up the tag match for Elimination Chamber. This is maybe a stretch with Seth's injury. And you could have Cody pin Roman. No, I wouldn't do that. So people believe it's going to happen at Mania. Or you have Jimmy and Solo interfere. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'd want The Rock and Roman to look as strong as possible going into WrestleMania, to tell you the truth. But it'd be tough to do this match and not have Rock and Cody win. Rock ain't eating a pin, and Cody probably shouldn't either. It's interesting. Night 1 of Mania, Cody beats Rock. Night 2, Roman beats Cody. Stop pitching me ideas where guys wrestle twice at Mania. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just so tired of hearing it. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just tired of hearing that, well, what if he does this in night 1 and night 2? It's enough. I know the Crybabies will revolt. I know the Crybabies will result, but Cody at this point is already a made man. And winning the title does nothing for him outside of finishing the story, which we've discussed about how, what do you do after he finishes it? That's the thing. If Cody loses to Roman, the story ends. But if Cody beats Roman, the story also ends. Call it a hunch. I don't know why, but I have this feeling that Braun Breaker is going to be groomed to be the one to beat Roman's historic run. I don't know about that. I don't think that... First of all, that call has certainly not been made because it depends on if Braun pans out. Nobody knows. I want to hear your thoughts. Look, I am not going to be disappointed if Roman Reigns wins. Just because, how are they going to make this work? People love Cody even more. How are they going to make this work? But some of it is good. The setup's good. The execution is not for me. But I appreciate the email, and Adelaide rules. D'Angelo. Oh, this is Big Daubrey. Okay, what's up, dude? Rock is my life role model, and Roman made me feel like I was back in grade school with this work since WrestleMania 29. With his work since Mania 29? Made me feel like I was back in grade. I don't think, was Roman, I guess he wrestled. Did he wrestle at 29? Yeah, I guess that was his first WrestleMania, but I have 2 potential fixes for this Mania Cody story. I don't think you need fixes. They fixed it. It's all good. Scenario 1, Roman versus Cody main event, night 2. Roman versus Cody main event, night 2. Cody is victorious because night of Mania, when Solo and Jimmy are summoned by Roman, Rock informs Roman that Roman is going in alone because he's the true tribal chief, is done cleaning up his messes. Then you have to build some tension between Rock and Roman. Yeah, I don't know. Scenario 2, Cody is beat down and made to miss Mania. Similar to how they beat down Brock before Mania 38. This leads to Rock feeling Roman went too far. Yeah, I don't like either of these, dude. I don't like either of these. But I appreciate you emailing in, dude. You're the man. This is from Wahaj. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Wahaj. I want to take a moment to thank you for doing emergency pods even when so much is going on in your personal life. You have no idea how busy this week has been. Nobody does. I know you don't like the word pivot, so I will use the phrase course correction. I don't like where this is going. But would you say this is the best course correction in the history of wrestling? WrestleMania 30 is a big one too, but this seems bigger. I think Cody versus Rock will main event night 1 to get to Cody versus Roman. If not, what will The Rock do at Mania? Well, I talked about that, and that is a mystery. This is potentially the greatest pivot in the history of wrestling. I don't know if it is. First of all, we don't know if it is a pivot. Secondly, we don't know how it'll work out. And thirdly, Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania 30 story is one of the best things to ever happen. So I don't know. I don't know. Carlos writes in, third-time emailer, probably my last, LOL. That's because this is so long. I've been watching the product for over 30 years, and I've never fantasy booked a storyline. So maybe by the way, how about that? That this story is so fun that it's inspiring people to fantasy book. That's so great. This might make sense, but be free to squash me if you think this is a terrible booking. Okay, so if I'm rude to this emailer, no people going, oh, you shouldn't be so rude to your emailers. People know the deal by now. We're having fun, guys. I think you're the emailer crybabies. Dad, do you want to go play catch? No, I got a tweet about Sam being rude to emailers. Anyway, I was inspired. Anyway, I think we as wrestling fans want Cody to finish the story, but also want Roman to surpass Hogan's reign as champion. I agree. Yes, I agree with that. So how do we do this without burying Cody's momentum? It's going to be tough. What if at WrestleMania 40, Roman beats Cody by outside interference from The Rock? I've never seen that happen. Roman winning from outside interference, but not just regular interference. I'm talking about a beatdown. The same way The Rock got his ass whooped by Austin at WrestleMania 17. Leave Cody in a bloody mess. Chairs to the head, tables. Exit WrestleMania by Roman and The Rock standing tall. That's a lot of heat, brother. After this, Cody stays off TV for months. As they say, absence leaves the heart fonder. WWE has plenty of superstars. Cody comes back in the summer, but in a darkish character, similar to Sting as the Crow, maybe without the face paint. His theme is the same, but slowed down and dark. I don't know, man. He's got a pretty good song. This would create momentum without killing his buzz. I don't know. Crow Cody doesn't sound that good to me. Cody speaks less, but it's very obvious what his intentions. Yeah, no, I don't like this. By this time, it's very obvious the Bloodline story is coming to an end. Cody finishes the story. You want Cody to finish the story as a completely different character when people love this character. Sting was ready for a refresh. People did not like Sting better than the NWO. The NWO was cool, hip, and new, and Sting had been around for years. Sting needed the refresh. Cody is the most popular babyface on TV. This doesn't work for me, pal. I don't want to see Crow Cody. You know, I think having WrestleMania end in a DQ and watching this beatdown happen is just not, it doesn't feel like something that we'd see in this era. That feels like some weird Attitude Era nonsense. Doesn't feel like something we'd see in this era. And I think people would leave WrestleMania highly disappointed. And not only would it slow Cody's momentum, it may slow the momentum of the entire product. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could do it great. Ultra Boy, what are the odds that they do Damage Control triple threat match at Mania? Because it looked like they might add Dakota. That would be awesome. No, I don't think that would be awesome. I think it's like Bayley's going to have her moment. This is Bayley's moment. What is Dakota? I love Dakota. I don't know if she adds to it. The whole idea is that Bayley is finally standing on her own 2 feet. And then they'd be like, oh, and there's also Dakota's going to be in this match. There's not additional tension with Dakota. Also, I think one of the bigger disappointments of 2023 was that we never got Cena versus LA Knight. Well, we got him in a tag team. So what do you think of this fantasy booking? Logan versus Cena Mania. Cena wins. Then on the Raw after Mania, he does the U.S. Open title challenge, loses to LA Knight. LA versus Logan at Backlash. Is this too much? So you want Logan Paul to lose to LA Knight and John Cena 2 in a row? It doesn't work for me. I get where you're going, and I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I think it'd be more effective if LA Knight just beat Logan Paul. Cut out the middleman. It is interesting, though. I wonder if we're going to see Cena at WrestleMania this year. My man Shea Boogie is here. We've been bamboozled, he writes. Roman Reigns, our tribal chief, our WWE champion, followed The Rock out of that press conference. While it shows unity, I was not a fan. The Rock is an icon, and Roman is The Rock's cousin to people that don't follow wrestling. I feel like that further stamps that with Roman not leading the charge, or at least standing next to him, it's time for some speculation, okay? We are going to get a Hollywood Rock back as a corporate heel. Well, it's not Hollywood Rock. It's a different Rock. It's board member Rock. Rock was a heel before he was Hollywood Rock. I don't like everybody like The Rock turning heel. It's like, okay, he's Hollywood Rock. No, The Rock was a heel first. The Rock was originally a heel. I don't think he's Hollywood Rock. He's board member Rock. It's a different iteration. It's not the same iteration. Rock versus Cody, Rock versus Roman at SummerSlam. Let it cook. That's why I said that. Yeah. Where does Jay fit into all this? Do we get a heel? I hope not. No. Eventually, Rock versus Jey Uso. Jay fits into this because he's on a completely separate thing. He's doing his own thing completely, which is exactly what he should be doing. Jay can win that Intercontinental title, beat Jimmy, because we should eventually see that. But then Jay's on a different show. Jay is doing his own thing entirely. Let's see. Kanye, is it just me, or did Cody sound like a crybaby when he said, I had you and you cheated me to Roman? I know others like Drew and LA Knight acknowledge that they were screwed, but to me, Cody's wording makes him sound childish, or am I wrong? What are your thoughts? No, I'm fine with it. I didn't get that at all. I didn't have that problem. Also, it looks like we're setting up for Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland 3 at Revolution as of right now. I'm 60% sure Adam will win, but I prefer Cage winning because when Kill Switch turns face and goes back to Luchasaurus, I want that match at Double or Nothing for the title. And I feel that Nick Wayne turning face and having to fight Christian and his mom would be great. That match with Nick winning the belt has potential to main event All In too. Okay, let me see. I don't know. It'd be great if his mom still sided with Christian. I would love that. I do think that the move here is to make Kill Switch a big monster babyface. I don't know that he ever goes back to Luchasaurus, though. I think he might keep Kill Switch. I don't know that Nick Wayne versus Christian is a main event for All In 2. You could get there. It's a great story. It's one of their best stories, but I don't know. It's like if you're going to do Christian versus Kill Switch feels like the main event match. That to me feels like the peak match. But I would love to see Nick Wayne go babyface and his mom stays with Christian. That would be great. Dylan writes in, thank you for your outlook. The positivity you bring to the community can't be oversold. I appreciate that. 2 quick ones. We know the rules, and I propose we upgrade Let Them Cook to replace Don't Fantasy Book Randy Orton. You talking a 4th rule? You talking we upgrade Let Them Cook to a full 4th rule? That's big, dude. You're saying we go watch the product. You're saying we go speculate wildly. You're saying we go everything counts, and you're saying we go Let Them Cook as a 4th rule? It's up for consideration. I'll tell you right now, it is up for consideration. After watching the product, my wild speculation is Mania will be Cody versus Rock and Roman versus Seth. Ooh. I've come to this conclusion because everything counts. Lots of hints in this direction. Ooh. I don't mind that. Do you take the title off Roman before Mania? Before the press conference, my idea, which I thought would be great, was Cody said, I'm going to end the story, but not at WrestleMania. My thing was, what if on the way to WrestleMania, you have Cody beat Roman Reigns on television? Like, what if on just an episode of Raw or an episode of SmackDown, Cody says, yep, you got to defend the title against me on this episode of Raw because I won the Royal Rumble and that's what I picked. And nobody thinks Roman's going to lose. And Roman actually loses. And he's like, what? And I mean, that'd be like Goldberg Hogan. And then you'd go, well, you're giving away the pay-per-view match. Yeah. But then Rock goes, and now you got Rock and Roman at WrestleMania for the head of the table. And instead of everybody going clearly Roman Reigns is going to win, because if he's the champion, clearly he's going to win, to now, I don't know, maybe Roman's going to lose. It would make sense for Roman to lose everything, and that would also be why Cody gave his spot to The Rock, because he wanted to have Roman lose everything in one fell swoop. I'll take the title from you before Mania, and then you go to Mania and lose to The Rock. I love it. I love all of you. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit like on the videos. Leave comments. Keep listening to all our pods, the emergency pods. I can only imagine what's going to happen this week. Keep up with me on social media to tune into everything that I'll be doing this week. It's going to be another busy one, but another very fun one. Get your tickets at notsam.com to the Philly live show, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you.